All right, so we are going to look at a basketball drill that focuses on closing out. Okay, so we have two players here. Sorry, I accidentally clicked the cone there. Here we go. Two players here and two players here. Now, realistically, you could do way more. You do this with way more than two players. You might have five or six players in each line, right? Five or six. You might have five or six players over there as well. It doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to go with one or two just for the sake of demonstrating this drill. Okay. So basically, what we're going to look at here is closing out. Okay, defensive shuffling and sprinting, right? Basically, the key things that we want to incorporate when we're talking about defense. Okay. And this drill is going to be consistent, right? A lot of coaches, we want to find different ways to add in conditioning and fitness and stuff like that. But, we don't want to take away from defense. Well, this is a great drill to incorporate to get your team to work on conditioning, but also to get your team to work on defense. Okay. We're also going to work on talking a little bit on this one. So what's going to happen here, we'll just demonstrate with number one here. So we have two different lines, right, as we mentioned. So we're going to start with just the first line. Both lines will be going simultaneously, but we're going to start with this one, right? So what we're going to have number one do at the first cone is close out. So they're going to do a closeout, right? They're going to continue facing the same way. They're going to defensive shuffle over to the sideline and defensive shuffle back, okay? Then what they're going to do then is sprint to the next cone, okay? As that happens, then number two can go as well. But let's just focus on number one right now. Number one's going to do the same thing at this cone, right? They're going to close out right here. They're going to defensive shuffle to the sideline, touch the sideline, defensive shuffle back, right? They're going to sprint, right? They're going to defensive shuffle to the sideline. They're going to defensive shuffle back. They're going to sprint. Okay. Once they get back here to this line, they're going to defensive shuffle over to the sideline again. And then they're going to sprint as hard as they can out of bounds to get back to the back of the line. All right. The way we'll tell the next person in line to go, right, is when they leave that first cone. So number one, right, they're going to sprint, defensive shuffle. They lead the first cone, right? Next person can go. Sprint, defensive shuffle. Right now we'll have, likely one person at each cone, right? When number one moves on from that one. Number two is over here, right? Then if we have a number three can go. Okay. We're going to have both lines going here at the same time, right? So we're sprinting, closing out, right? Sprinting, closing out, defensive shuffle, sprinting, closing out, defensive shuffle. Okay. Now, that's basically a rundown on the drill. How we're going to incorporate some communication here is we are going to have number one, or any number really, but for right now, number one, when we're demonstrating, we're going to have them call out that they are guarding the basketball when they are closing out. So every time they close out, they got to yell, "I got ball," right? We want to yell it loud. We want to make it known you are guarding the ball, right? This is what we're going to talk like on the defensive end. We're going to have somebody calling out that they have the ball when they close out. They're going to have somebody communicating they're guarding a shot if they're closing out on a shot, right? They're going to have somebody communicating that they're in help or whatever position you are in, right? So we're going to have this person yell, "I got ball," right? We're defensive shuffling, we're back. "I got ball." We're defensive shuffling, we're back. "I got ball." We're defensive shuffling, we're back. Same thing. Next person closes out, right? "I got ball." They're communicating it. Hands up. We want to build good defensive habits, right? So this is a really good drill. It's a consistent drill, right? And it is a great replacement for your traditional line drill because we're working on, defensive shuffling. We're working on closing out. We're working on communicating, right? We're working on building team defense. This is a great drill to add to your defensive rotation for practice. Hold on one quick second, coaches. Before you go anywhere, I've got a couple free resources waiting for you from the Basketball Coaches Academy that'll take your practices and take your teams to the next level. First off, grab your complete guide to the continuous motion offense, which breaks down exactly how to teach your players to play the game, not just run plays. You'll learn what continuous motion offense really means, proven drills to build it, and how to run a motion offense continuously. We have lots of different things in this guide. We have video demonstrations, we have diagrams, we have descriptions, everything that you would need. If you want your athletes to develop real basketball IQ, this is the starting point. The second item that I have for you is the 5 must-have out-of-bounds plays for all ages. These are game-tested sets that you can run with youth or high school teams. We have baseline out of bounds. We have sideline out of bounds, all free for you. They're simple to teach, tough to guard, and each play includes clear diagrams and coaching points so your team stops wasting possessions. And lastly, I have the practice plan template. This printable practice plan template is the exact layout that I use to organize and plan every practice session. So you can plug in your warm-ups, skill blocks, team drills, and scrimmage notes so you can walk into every gym with a clear plan and zero guesswork. So I have these 3 free items for you. You can claim them using the link in the description. They'll be sent to you right away. Enjoy. All right, so what we are going to look at is a ball handling competition drill. Now, this drill is really great for all age groups, to be quite honest, because you're basically incorporating a competition into some ball handling stuff, and you can really work on a couple of different things here, and that's what we'll go over now. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to split the athletes up into 2 different teams. So as we can see here, just for the sake of demonstrating this, I only have 2 players on each team, but realistically you could do this with 5 or 6 players on each team, whatever you really wanted to do. So we have a team here, a white team, and a team here, a blue team. Let's give a basketball here to number 1. Okay, so basically what we are going to do is just have a little bit of a zigzag, a half court zigzag to play basically a relay race, one at a time. So basically what we're going to have the athletes do is dribble around each cone. So they're going to dribble around this cone, then they're going to move up to the half court line and dribble around this cone. And they're going to turn and they're going to come back. They're going to dribble around this cone and then they're going to come back to the start of their line. So basically just dribbling around the cones, right? Pretty straightforward. Here we're dribbling around, and we're coming back, dribbling around. Okay, this side would be the same thing. They're going to dribble around this cone, right? Come up here, dribble around this cone, dribble around this one, and back. Okay. When they get to the back of the line, they're going to pass the ball to the next person line. They're going to go to the back of the line, right? We're going to pass the ball here to number 2. They're going to go to the back of the line. Then number 2 with the basketball would do the same thing. Okay. So it's pretty easy going. If we put, maybe say 5 players on this side and 5 players on this side, you could run it one at a time. But here's how we're going to, work on a couple things, right? Even though we are going in different directions, right? This is the right side. This is the left. What we'll do is often, incorporate different things into this. So, maybe we would have one round where you can only dribble with your right hand. So left hand is behind your back. You're only dribbling with your right hand. We would have a round where you're only dribbling with your left hand. So the right hand is behind your back. You're only, maybe it's a younger team. You put the opposite hand behind your back. But say we'd only go left hand dribbles. So even if we're going around here, it's only left hand dribbles. Even if we're going around here, it's only left hand dribbles all the way back, right? If you have a team where you want to kind of like work on left hand dribbling and offhand dribbling and stuff like that, this is a great one. Another version that we would incorporate here is, when they come back, they need to do a one-handed pass. So if we're working on passing, we're going to have them do a one-handed pass instead of a two-handed pass when they pass it to their teammate or whatever that may be, right? So this is a fun little passing drill, or a sort of fun little ball handling drill. But again, you're going to want to make this a competition. So this is a great drill to kind of start the energy for your practices. If you say, maybe you got a couple more players over here. So let's, put a 3rd, 4th, 5th player in this line. Same thing over here, right? We'll put a 3rd, 4th, and 5th player in this line, right? We're going to make that a competition. So all players in the out of bounds, when they're not participating, should be clapping and cheering and yelling and encouraging their teammates, right? But this is a good way to incorporate some ball handling into your practices while making it a fun little competition. Okay, so let's take a look at the 7-man fast break basketball drill. Now, the focus of this one, like I said, is we want to get the ball up the floor in 7 seconds or less. But another part of it as well is that, we want to have about 7 players in the drill, but you can do this with up to 15 players as well. So if you want to add more players to these lines, that's okay. Like I said, I have 7 here right now, but if we want to end up adding, say, 12, a few more at each line, that's fine too. Okay, so how we are going to set up, we have our rebound line right here. And as I said, you can add more players into those rebound lines if you would like. We have our outlet pass right here. We have another outlet pass right there for when we come back in the other direction. And we have our runner right here in the corner. So those are the main spots of this drill. Now, what we're going to focus on in this drill is, like I said, rebounding the basketball, cutting hard, getting the ball down the floor in 7 seconds or less, and finishing at the rim. Okay, so this drill starts right here. And this is going to be, the person that will typically rebound the basketball. But in this case, they're just going to start with the basketball in their hands because we needed to start the drill. Okay, now to start the drill, our outlet pass is going to call for the ball around right here. Okay, so this is our first outlet pass. So our rebounder is going to feed the ball to our outlet pass, and then the rebounder is then going to take the spot of the outlet pass. As the outlet pass receives the basketball, our runner is then going to sprint down the floor and cut, inching a little bit more toward the middle as they're running down the floor. And they're going to call and give a clean, hard target for the basketball from the outlet. So the outlet is then going to hit our runner with the ball. Now, our runner then is going to attack the basket as hard as they can. So they're sprinting, right? Even from the jump. Right, when number 4 came here, they're sprinting as hard as they can. This is a fast break basketball drill. Obviously, we can't demonstrate that here on our clipboard, but generally speaking, right, we're looking at a fast break basketball drill. So number 4 is sprinting right here. They're receiving the ball. Okay, so like I said, now number 4 is, they're sprinting down the floor to, get a wide open layup. Now, as that is happening, right, our outlet pass is sprinting to this corner of the floor. They're going to sprint all the way down into the corner, and they're going to touch the baseline. So number 1 is sprinting as hard as they can down here, and they're going to touch the baseline. Okay. Now, as number 4 goes up for their layup, right, number 5 right here is going to turn, face the basket, and be ready to rebound the ball. Number 4 is going to go up for their layup, and then number 4 is going to go to the back of this line. And now, as you can see, we are actually reset, right? We are completely reset right now, and we're ready to go back down the floor the other way. So number 5 is now facing the basket. If you're dealing with a team where you want to teach some principles, maybe you can explain to number 5 to call that they're getting the rebound, and maybe do a hypothetical box out or something like that. So now number 5 is looking to face the basket, and they're going to receive the basketball. Our outlet is right here. They're calling for the basketball. So now number 5 is going to go to the back of that line. Number 1 is sprinting down the floor. Sorry, a little bit too far. We probably want to get it about right here. Number 2 is feeding to number 1. Now number 2 is going to sprint down here to this corner, right? And number 1 obviously is going to attack the basket for a layup, right? Number 1 is going to go up for a layup right there. Right, so it's a continuous drill, right? There's no stopping. We're continuously moving, continuously moving, continuously moving. There's very little stoppage in this drill.